Commanding in squad demands clarity, strategy, and a steady hand. In this video, I'll walk you through everything you need to know to maximize your effectiveness as a commander. From mastering key assets like the UAV and fire missions to leading with a philosophy that empowers your squad leaders. This is about understanding the bigger picture, making decisive calls, and guiding your team to victory. My name's UrsoDoSono, and let's dive in. Being a commander in squad isn't about micromanaging every move. It's about two key responsibilities: effective implementation of commander assets, which is knowing how and when to use the tools at your disposal to support your team, such as the UAV, airstrikes, mortar barrages, artillery barrages, things like that. And guiding the flow of the game. Your job is to gently nudge your team in the right direction without overstepping into micromanagement. A good commander is like a chess player who sees the board clearly, anticipating moves and setting up plays to keep their team ahead. A brief overview of command areas. In the command map, you can access the command panel in the top left to see what resources are available to you. Know that you need to be near a command center to call in any form of commander asset. This is something that differs from faction to faction. The United States Marine Corps can call in command assets from the AAVC, while insurgents and militia can call in assets from various vehicles available to them. Regardless, all factions can call in command assets from their HAB. The UAV and FPV drone do not require a tactical support request. Through the UAV and drone, you can give yourself a tactical support request, and these are for airstrikes, heavy mortars, and artillery. You can also have other squad leaders place these markers, but sometimes it's not the most reliable to get another squad in the field to give you a tactical request. The process of getting this placed is: look at your target location, hold T by default to open the tactical menu, find the star with lightning bolts on both sides, and click. Go to your map and confirm the area of request and then work within it. Granted, this tactical request is placed wherever you're looking, so make sure you're looking in the target direction. A little more on the request for tactical support. When you place the request, it will be in blue, and the timer begins for that request. You have a minute to confirm it. Once it's confirmed, the timer resets and switches to gold. Now you can call in your command assets. This can be helpful at times when you don't have a UAV but need to call in an asset. You can quickly run to a location where you can see your request it, run back, and stagger your approvals to give yourself 2 minutes to call in an asset. Some clarifying points of how to use command assets. You cannot call in a command tactical request mark unless you are a squad leader. You cannot fulfill that command asset request if you are commander without a squad leader kit. Let's move into talking about some of those commander assets. Starting with the UAV. The UAV is your primary tool for gathering intel. The factions with this available are all but the WPMC, the insurgents, and the irregular militia force. Here's how to use the UAV effectively. Always deploy the UAV at its largest setting to cover the largest area. Place it between both defensive and offensive objectives to maximize information potential. I say the largest and between two objectives because oftentimes you can see both objectives at the same time in the UAV. I will say that this makes the UAV move very quickly and can cause potential problems in the future if you cannot see something within the UAV circle until it loops all the way around. It can cause problems. I still strongly believe the strongest use of the UAV is the largest size. The UAV lasts for 5 minutes and it is quite fast. Utilize the tools inside to your advantage since it moves so fast. WASD moves the camera around, Q zooms in and out, and Z will allow you to lock onto targets. The UAV allows you to lock onto moving targets or an area. This is helpful for locking onto enemy vehicles. If you lock onto a moving asset, it will follow it. Utilize the UAV every time it is online. Pair the UAV with fire missions for devastating effectiveness. If you spot a tracked tank, time is of the essence. Lock on the tank, place an observation mark on it, call in a fire mission marker, and then finally place your airstrike through the eye of the observation mark. Then hope that the crew cannot repair the track in time. The UAV cooldown is around 10 minutes. UAV takes 30 seconds to get to the target location before you can enter it and start observing that location. Moving on to the handheld drone. It's the crown jewel of commander assets, but sadly only reserved for the WPMC, IMF, and insurgents. It lasts for a total of 10 minutes, making it an exceptional tool for prolonged scouting or direct strikes. Similar to the UAV, it allows you to zoom in, but sadly you cannot lock onto targets. Controls are WASD to fly, mouse to look around, Q to zoom, space to climb, and control to descend. If you're playing Insurgents, attach IEDs to the drone so you can, well, IED tanks. High impact play for Insurgents, but sadly only Insurgents can use this tool. The handheld drone has a cooldown of 10 minutes and is deployed immediately. Both the FPV drone and UAV can be shot down, so please use them with extreme caution. Moving on to fire missions. Fire mission in squad are the commander's primary impact, and effective artillery can swing a game darn near 100 tickets. Here they are: heavy mortar barrage, airstrike, and artillery. Heavy mortar barrage is for the IMF, Insurgents, and WPMC. They are extremely quick and effective. Once the delay passes, the full barrage unleashes firepower with no ranging shots. It's best used for infantry, not really super effective on emplacements. Again, this is just a mortar barrage, and then it has an extremely long cooldown timer at 20 minutes. But once it's called in, it takes about 30 seconds to land, and the strike lasts a minute in total. And it's repeated. If you've ever been on the receiving end of an effective heavy mortar barrage, it can be devastating. Moving on to airstrike. All factions have this except for the IMF and Insurgents. It's the precision tool, the most powerful single strike option. My tips for using it effectively: place an observation mark on the UAV for accurate targeting, avoid moving targets. Once it's called in, it takes 35 to 45 seconds to impact target. Remember, this is a plane, and it shoots rockets or bullets. Never place following a downhill slope. Place opposite so it goes uphill. Along with this, trees, buildings, they'll eat your airstrike, so make sure that the plane's approach is unimpeded. Do not strike what you cannot see. Blind strikes rarely hit. I cannot remember a time when I hit a tank blindly through another squad leader's mark. The airstrike has a cooldown of 15 minutes. I don't necessarily recommend utilizing it on enemy habs or radios, as if there are not friendlies to push this area to clear it out, enemies will most likely just rebuild them, and your strike, well, while it briefly inhibited their ability to spawn, ultimately probably won't have a large impact. So make sure if you are calling it in on an enemy hab or radio that you're coordinating with friendly squads in the area to push in after the strike happens. But I mainly use the UAV and airstrike for tanks. Let's move on to the heavy hitters: static artillery and creeping artillery. All artillery barrages take 1 minute for the first rounds to arrive, and the barrage lasts around a minute in itself. For static artillery, you're gonna have a circle of fire. It's a focused fire range on that circular area. The thing is, the larger areas result in less concentrated firepower, and realistically, I'm not a super big fan of the static artillery. I still feel like the creeping artillery has more power to it, even in that small area. Now, let's move on to creeping barrage. The strongest option, a rectangular strike zone that moves forward, ideal for clearing paths. Or if you call it in just a small rectangle, it kind of acts like a static barrage, but again, in my opinion, is still more fire downrange than a static barrage. The min-max strategy here is stretch it for linear range, but expect reduced density of firepower the longer the rectangle. Coordinate with the infantry to follow the barrage's advance if possible. That's why you would call in a long barrage, is to have a squad of infantry and armor push in behind it, clearing it out as it moves forward. This really impedes your enemy's ability to react, as they're suppressed by artillery. Infantry comes in and clears them out. Now that we've discussed all of the different variety of, fire missions, UAV, airstrikes, all that good stuff, let's move on to kind of my command philosophy. Beyond the use of assets, your leadership style sets the tone for your team. Here are some core principles I use. Focus on gentle guidance. That is my command philosophy. What this means is avoiding micromanaging and stepping in only when the situation demands. Squad leaders are more effective when given the freedom to operate. By becoming commander, it does not make you more superior than them. Step in only when the situation demands it. For example, your defense lacks infantry and supplies. That's a big no-no. Helicopter pilots are prioritizing spotting over critical supply runs. That's a big no-no as well. While helicopters, flying around spotting enemy vehicles is helpful, sometimes they're better used to run supplies to hats and lats, medics, and ammo, just general supplies. The goal is to identify trajectory-altering problems. Great commanders excel at spotting small issues that can spiral into major setbacks. Like if your team's forward operating base lacks ammunition, so your anti-tank weapons are out of ammo, your friendly armor is in main unmanned, and enemy armor gains uncontested dominance. A quick supply run can change the course of the game. If you do not have the supplies to take out an objective or take out a vehicle, you need to fix that as a commander. You need to know when to pick your battles. Not every problem needs your intervention. Focus on the pivotal moments that determine victory or defeat. Develop a reputation as the commander who spots key opportunities, communicates them clearly and concisely, empowers the team to execute solutions. Not someone who micromanages armor, infantry, or helicopters. My tips for success is to be decisive. Timing matters. Don't let hesitation cost your team a critical opportunity, especially when using command assets. Be decisive. Stay focused. Your role is strategic. Keep your eye on the big picture. That's the goal. Communicate clearly. Stay informed of the flow of the game. Do not let squad leading get in the way of understanding the big picture. If you don't understand why a squad is doing something, ask for clarification. Learn and adapt. The more you play as commander, the better you'll get at reading the battlefield and anticipating needs. Commanding in squad is about balance. You're the orchestrator, not the soloist. Use your assets wisely, guide your team with a steady hand, and always think 2 steps ahead. When done right, being a commander is one of the most rewarding roles in squad. Now get out there, give it a shot. If you found this guide helpful, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos in the future. And thank you to Showforce for allowing me to record on their server.